Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson. Today in the studio, we're going to be talking about internships. And with us is Josh Subhan. He's a college graduate from the University of Minnesota, and he's here to talk to us all about it. Josh, how are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on the Blind Abilities. Josh, why don't you kick it off with, what is an internship?
Yeah, so an internship is essentially a job that you have while you're either in college or just after college that allows you to gain experiences in your field. The main purpose of doing them is to just have something on your resume for when you graduate and want to apply for other jobs in your field, you'll start your career. You have something on there already that, it helps you maybe stand apart from other candidates, or, something to reference to when you're answering interview questions. Yeah.
Experience and resume building. That's good stuff. So Josh, tell us a little bit more about the application process.
Many internships do have applications. It's the same applying for a job. Typically, companies or businesses or organizations will have a careers page listing all the jobs that are open, and that's where they would list internships if they offer them.
Once again, great experience. Not much difference between an internship and a job interview. Was there an in-person interview component as well?
It runs a little bit differently, but my process was I just had one interview and it was virtual. Sometimes it'll be in person, or sometimes you might even have two resume interviews. I feel like that's less common for internships and more common for jobs post-college.
Josh, as I mentioned, you just graduated from the University of Minnesota, and your internship led you to Metro Transit here in Minnesota.
Yes, it did. I'm actually just wrapping up my internship with them and moving on to a full-time position here in the near future.
Congratulations. When should a student start the process of looking for an internship? And what is that process like?
Yeah, it definitely sort of depends on your goals and sort of your education level and your background. So for me, I didn't apply until I was a sophomore in college, because at that point I had sort of learned enough of the basics on my field of computer science that I could apply it and utilize it in a productive way in an internship or a job. So typically about halfway through your college career, assuming you're going to a four-year university, is when you probably want to start looking and applying for internships.
That's good information. Josh, was State Services for the Blind involved in your internship process?
Yeah, asked my counselor what sort of connections they had or what ways I could utilize SSB's resources to help me find internships and even interview prep, application tips and tricks to make sure to try to get to that interview stage.
Oh yeah, it's quite involved, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Josh, for our listeners, can you share with us some resources that are out there for internships?
Yeah, Indeed is absolutely a good one that I used a lot when I was searching. Essentially, it's a job board site. And so, you put in your location or you're looking for your job or internship, and you type in the search box computer science internship, because that's my field. And so you search and you see what comes up. And Indeed has a quick apply feature where if you already have your resume uploaded, you can just hit a button and it shoots it off, or it'll link you to the company's page. So then you go fill your application there. I also just looked at companies and organizations that I liked or knew about and checked their careers page to see if they offered any internships.
So looking for an internship, jobs, you look for jobs, but internships, companies actually list internship opportunities on their website?
Yeah, so typically companies will have them listed with their other jobs on their career page or their Join Us page that you click on to find jobs. The internships will typically be listed there, and it'll say some title and then internship. So you know that it's an internship that you can apply for.
I decided to jump on the internet and check this out. I went to a company called 3M at 3M.com.
3M.com.
Went to their careers page
button,
and searched for jobs.
Search for jobs. Search.
In the search bar, I typed in internship.
Internship search button.
17 jobs appeared.
17 jobs found.
Here's a sampling of the jobs/internships that were available.
Internship, undergraduate marketing intern, internship, 2026 MBA intern, safety and industrial business group, internship, 2026 undergraduate business analytics intern, consumer business group, internship, undergraduate field sales intern, internship, undergraduate marketing intern, MBA strategy intern, transportation and electronics business group, internship, undergraduate marketing intern.
And there's quite a few more listings here under the 3M.com website, and you can do that for any company. Just go into their company's website, go to their careers or their jobs offerings, and use internship as the keyword. Josh, with your experience at the University of Minnesota, what kind of tools do they provide when you're looking for a job or internship opportunity?
The University of Minnesota has a career center, and they have, a host of career counselors, some of which are specific to a certain industry or know about a certain industry. And you can go to them for like resume help to, polish your resume, interview preparation, mock interviews, and they'll help you sort of find internships, find listings for them.
Well, that's great. And at SSB, the employment specialist can help in that area as well. Mock interviews where one can go through an interview process and get a good understanding of that process, kind of shake out the jitters and be able to prepare for a real one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, resumes and mock interviews. Those are some skills that are nice to have as you start the process of applying for internships and jobs. Good stuff. Josh, can you tell us a little bit about the tools that you use to do your job?
Yeah, so my job essentially is very much like equivalent to a business systems analyst position, which means like I'm doing a lot of data analysis, report building, making visualizations, and like dashboards to present information about various things to stakeholders or to my team. And so the tools I use most for that is like the Microsoft Power Apps suite of applications. So Power BI, Power BI Report Builder, Power Automate, Excel, and Word, to use these to create the reports that, my boss is asking me to create. That's how I build the reports. The data, comes from a server, on a database, and we use SQL or SQL or structured query language. It's just a coding language to get the data from the database into the report tool and then manipulate the data to show a visual or a table or whatever.
And what kind of tools are you using to access this information?
I'm using the zoom feature on my machine to make things bigger, magnifying glass tool as well to sort of highlight things and make things easier to see for me.
Just a different way.
Right, absolutely.
Magnification has come a long ways. I think over the last 10 years, we've seen a growth in handheld devices, digital devices for people to utilize, especially with the age onset vision loss. Magnification has really come a long ways.
It has, absolutely.
Josh, sometimes in an interview process, the white elephant in the room is the disability and disclosing a disability. What was the process like for you when going through the job interview?
You can do this at different times in either, your application interview or onboarding process, right? I typically, when I'm applying for jobs, I do not disclose that I have a disability. And then when I am onboarded or hired, I do then mention like, oh, I have a vision impairment. Oh, I need to use these tools on the computer, the Windows machine that I'm using. That's usually not a problem.
Same job, different way.
Yep.
Josh, can you tell us how State Services for the Blind, SSB, helped you in your journey into college?
Yeah, so SSB actually helped a lot. I was trying to figure out what I actually wanted to major in. When I was just leaving high school, when I was maybe a junior, I was torn between two majors, computer science or political science. At the time, I had really gotten into political science and into American history, and I found it really interesting and I really wanted to pursue it in some way. And so SSB sort of got me in contact with someone who worked at the State House here in Minnesota, and I talked with them. They explained what their job is like, what they do, how they do it, and helped me gain some insight about sort of what that field is like to help me make a decision about what I wanted to major in.
Yeah, you got quite the team over there when you're researching jobs and career opportunities, what the marketplace is like for that particular field. And one can save a lot of time if they can make that decision early in their educational journey.
Yes.
Josh, from high school to college to the workplace, how has your perspective about gaining a career changed?
When I first was in late high school, beginning of college, I was pretty confident that I would get a job. Just because my field was booming still at the time. Computer science, the job market was like anyone could get a job with a computer science degree in my field. When I was, just graduating high school, starting college, that's different now. Sort of the bubble has sort of popped, and it's a little bit harder for new grads to get jobs in my field.
But you keep on pursuing.
Yeah, that's, all you can do is keep on pursuing. I also, it's important to maybe try and find your niche. So, my niche, is working in tech in transit. That's a niche. And so once you get into a niche like that or any sort of niche within your field, it becomes a lot easier to find jobs or internships.
Well, that makes good sense. Know yourself. Know how you can best present yourself on your resume to fit the description of the application of the job that you're seeking.
Right, absolutely.
Josh, before we go, what advice do you have for a student who is interested in the internship process?
Yeah, I think if you're starting to look for internships, and this depends on the field, trying to get discouraged. It can be hard. You put in a lot of applications and you don't hear something. It gets a little discouraging. My advice is just to keep applying for things, keep looking, and utilize the people you know, utilize the connections that you have in order to find opportunities. That's the one thing I learned. Like, connections are really, really important, especially right now with the job market. They're really important, and they make finding a job or internship a lot easier.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for coming on to Blind Abilities and sharing your internship journey with us. Good luck with your upcoming job. And once again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Such a great time talking to Josh Subhan about internships. And if you're interested in internships, we just published an episode on internships with the team from SSB, 2 and Randy. And they are transition navigators, and they went through a list of a lot of opportunities from around the state of Minnesota and a lot of resources where you can find out more about internships. And I'll put a link to that episode in the show notes. I want to thank you for listening. And until next time, bye-bye. To find out more about all the programs at State Services for the Blind, contact shane.desantis@state.mn.us. That's shane.desantis@state.mn.us. Be sure to contact your State Services for the Blind, your voc rehab, and find out what they can do for you. Live, work, read, succeed.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the realities
of blind ability.
abilities.